beer tubers, welcome back to an extra special episode of Maxwell Starr's Beer Review. What's so special about this episode? Well, this episode marks my review of Garrison's 15th anniversary brew, Hops, Mango, and Ginger. So, on June 22nd, actually a day that I was down in Halifax, Garrison Brewery celebrated its 15th anniversary, and they commemorated its 15th anniversary with a beer of enormous magnitude, 9% ABV, a beer brewed with 15 varieties of hops, and also mango and ginger. It is an extra strong beer. Oh wow. It's brewed with the following types of hops. It's brewed with Goldings, Palisade, Millennium, Columbus, Galaxy, Tettnang, Bullion, Crystal, Cascade, Amarillo, Strisselspalt, Pearl, Citra, Mount Hood, and Brewer's Gold. That is a list of hops that reads like a grocery list. I imagine, and there's more hops out there, I imagine some people probably didn't realize there was just so many hop varieties. Wow, I've never seen so many hops in one type of beer, and not only is this fresh, I picked this up directly from the brewery itself in Halifax and Nova Scotia on the following Sunday, and I've had this in my possession for less than a week. So, I'd like to get to it as fresh as possible with the number of hops that are in it. So let's take a look. 9% ABV, this is going to get me plowed, but whatever. Yeah, I'm a lightweight, whatever. And off comes the cap. I can smell something already off of it, and it smells nice. The cap is the standard fare from Garrison, the cannon on the cap. And look at that. That's coming out as a beauty of a beer. Look how orange that is. It's even got an orangey touch to the top of the head. Cool. I smell mangoes already. It's definitely looks unfiltered. I mean, it's almost where it's the point where it's translucent. I can still see some light through it, and I almost see some light in some spots, but it's hazy in other areas. And the head on that, gratuitous amount of head. I still have stuff left in the bottle. And it is just this nice, thick, creamy appearance. There's some larger bubbles on the outside, but for the most part, it looks really dense when you look down at the top. It's got some larger bubbles in the center, and it kind of makes it look like sponge toffee. Wow, that's a nice, satisfying, orange-looking beer. And the carbonation looks like it's moving up through the center of the body of the beer slow. It looks really nice. It's got some yellowish hues around the outside edges. Excuse me. But for the most part, it's this very bright orange beer. That looks incredible. Wow, it looks just like a standard IPA. And I think this is kind of almost on the lines of a double IPA. But it's also brewed with mango and ginger. So let's give it a sniff. Whew. You name it. It's all there. Piney, floral. I smell the mango. The mango comes off as almost like a candy sweet kind of mango. Touch of biting peppery ginger. Not a whole lot. It's kind of like that, almost like that earthy, fresh cut ginger kind of smell to it, like a ginger beer has. Citrusy, grapefruit, orangey. Ooh. Herbal. I think the most predominant hop smell in this one is the floral. Holy cow, that smells so good. It smells so beautiful too. Now, it's not as strong as an aroma as I was kind of hoping for, but that maybe that'd be overdoing it too much. One thing it is that it's an incredibly complex, incredibly mouth-watering kind of smell to it. There's a little bit of a sweet malt, but it's practically buried under everything else, to the point where I'm almost thinking maybe my mind's thinking malt. But that smells gorgeous. Happy 15th anniversary, Garrison. You guys make some incredible beers down the hatch. Oh wow, she's bitter. Intensely bitter. It's probably pretty close in bitterness to the Imperial IPA they put out, but There's enough malt and fruity sweetness that comes with this one to balance the heavy hop bitterness out a little. A little, not a whole lot. Think about it. 15 types of hops in this thing. There really isn't totally enough there to balance it out completely, but it does taste well made. Again, the flavors, you name it. It's earthy, lingering earthy hops in the back, with a touch of citrus, touch of floral, touch of pine. Mildly peppery. I'm not picking up a whole lot of ginger in the taste. Maybe a little bit of a ginger sweetness on the very back tip of the tongue. But it doesn't have like any kind of like a tingling burn or anything. And that mango sweetness, the mango fruit juice kind of mixes with the malt flavors to create this nice fruity tasting beer. You can also pick up the touches of the fruit flavors, like other tropical fruits that are present, like that would be associated with like citra hops. But that is just a smorgasbord of multiple different hop flavors. It reads like a grocery list, and it tastes like a who's who of hop party. Holy cow, that is good. Very sweet. There's a lot of residual sugar in it. But the hoppiness dries you out, and it also comes across as a very thick beer. This is one I'll probably be taking a fair bit to suck down, but it is so good. Alright, I'm going to take a bit to sit down with this one and come up with some thoughts, and I'll be right back. And I'm back with Garrison's 15th anniversary hops, mango, and ginger. So, what did I think about this brew? Really, really nice. The style I think that this one here kind of matches up the most with is that of a double IPA. It's got all the hops, it's got the ABV, the high ABV, it's got the body. The added twists has got that little bit like an herbal, dirty burn that is associated with the ginger, and a little bit of a fruity twang when it comes to the mangoes added. But otherwise, it's got all the hop flavors, and the hops are so complex. There's 15 different types of hops in here, and you can definitely tell that there's 15 different types of hops in here because you've got the earthy hops, you've got the citrus, you've got the pine, the tropical fruits, the herbal, the earthiness, the peppery, the slightly touch of peppery in some of the hops. It is just so darn delicious and so darn complex. One thing I gotta say though is that the earthiness, the earthy hops tend to be the hop type that dominates throughout this beer, and maybe that's what they were going for, maybe not. I just find that when it comes to a double IPA, that's not quite what I'm looking for, but it is delicious nonetheless. And perhaps that's something they'll iron out in the next batch. I understand that they're going to be making this a second time, so from what I've heard, and apparently it may even be better at the next time. Who knows? But for the time being, I'm extremely humbled and extremely pleased to be able to participate in trying this beer and in reviewing this beer, and I'm just incredibly stoked to have been able to try it. This is delicious, and if you do happen to get lucky and they have this on tap or have this in bottles when you're visiting Halifax, you owe it to yourself to go in and pick it up. And if not, if that's the only time they make this, then I'm just extremely humbled to have been part of history in tasting this brew. As such, I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. It's really delicious. I really liked it. If I were to say it reminded me of anything, it reminds me of the hop complexity and hop taste and general malt sweetness that the Big Tide's Tidal Wave Double IPA had in its first batch. But perhaps it's got a little bit of a different twang to it, like with the mango and the ginger added. And while I said before that the ginger didn't seem to be too present, I did notice as I was drinking, as I was warming up, that I started to get more and more of a ginger burn in the very back. But it was mild and subtle, and it kind of blended in with the rest of the beer. It's a masterpiece. It's pretty darn good. Neely didn't quite like it as much as I do, but I thought that this one was really, really delicious. Anyway, 4.5 out of 5 is what this gets for me. You saw here on Maxwell Starr's beer review Hope you guys enjoyed watching the review, and I will chat with you guys later. Cheers.